Here's our audience. And camera guy up close. And back to Jessica.
I spent the whole week preparing for an amazing vacation. I had gone the year before, but only for the day, and knew the next year I was going for the whole event. I couldn't believe my family and I were actually going. I had spent the week packing our clothes, food, tents, everything you needed for 4 days of camping with 2 adults and 2 children. Yeah, you're right, it's a lot. As we pulled out of the driveway, our car was packed. The boys were in their car seats in the back seat of our tree and couldn't even see each other. There was a small cooler between them, stacked with pillows and blankets. At their feet there were more supplies. The trunk was packed to the fullest, with our tents, clothes, a box of dry goods, air mattresses, not yet inflated, and various other items. We had a small rack my handy husband had built, hooked to a hitch he had also built, to hold our cooler. It was going to be a 3-hour drive, but there was no dread in the car. You could just feel the energy and excitement among us. When we finally arrived in Oshkosh, at the site Life Fest would be held, the excitement doubled, or maybe even tripled. You could feel the buzz in the air of people bustling about, setting up their campsites, getting ready to go down to the grandstands. We only had 45 minutes before the newsboys would go on stage, so we tried to hurry. Soon you could hear the music in the background and knew we were missing the beginning of the show, but also knew we had to get things set up before dark. The tents weren't being cooperative and the tension was rising. But we soon got them up and headed to the grandstands with a major skip in our step. We couldn't believe our eyes when we saw the amount of people sitting in their lawn chairs and in the back standing to see the concert. There were several thousand people who had come out to see them. It was an amazing sight, and I was almost glad we were late, because the rest of the weekend we would set our chairs up early in the morning and be in our seats before the crowds arrived. So we wouldn't get to experience this again, to see all these people worshiping God and listening to the newsboys sing His praises. After the show, we headed back to our campsite. It had been a long day, and we were emotionally as well as physically exhausted. We curled up on our air mattresses, still hearing the late night music being played. It lulled us to sleep each night, and the bright sun woke us up each morning. My family and I loved going to the children's area and watching the different singers act out stories from the Bible. My favorite was Mark Thompson, who was a ventriloquist with some adorable puppets. He was very funny, and the area was just filled with laughter. My youngest and I were also able to see Josh Wilson sing on a smaller stage, and that was really neat. It was much more intimate than the big stages, and while the crowd was a lot smaller, I think it was my son's favorite. We were only a few feet away from him, and he just drew you into each and every song he sang. Thursday afternoon, I went and saw Matthew West. The weather was extremely warm, and I was sitting right in the middle of a field with the sun beating down on me, but his music was wonderful. He sang an amazing song called My Own Little World. It really spoke to me. It talked about how we all kind of live in our own little world, not really facing what's going on around us, but there's a much bigger picture out there, a much bigger purpose for our lives. I loved it. Thursday night we went to see Mercy Me. They were my favorite concert of the weekend. When they sang Move, you couldn't help but to get up and dance. You could just feel the beat all the way through your body. It was amazing. Friday night we went to see Toby Mac. Now I admit, I wasn't extremely excited about this concert, but my brother had put down our chairs that morning and had gotten us amazing seats. Toby Mac is more of a rock and roll, maybe even rapper type singer, and I just didn't think I'd like his style. But a few songs into his concert, he too became one of my favorites. As he sang, I felt myself swaying to the music, really absorbing every word he sang. Speaking of leaving the concert each night, you had to walk through a smorgasbord of smells. You could smell the fried and grilled foods just lingering in the air. You could see the delicious cream puffs, the funnel cakes, and the wonderful ice cream creations. It made you want to eat it all. Every day there was a variety of inspirational speakers as well. My favorite was Bob Lentz. He has such a powerful message about the youth needing to come to Christ by the age of 18. He is so passionate about his message that at times you could see tears streaming down his face, while they were streaming down yours as well. I was able to share listening to Bob Lentz with my oldest son, and we walked away in pure silence. He just moves your heart so much, it takes time to even process it all. Leaving Life Vest was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I just felt so moved by so many messages. I felt like I could take on the world and change everything bad in it. I had anticipated this weekend for so long, and then for it to be done, it left me just feeling sad. It was such a surreal place to be. I could just feel the love and compassion in the air. I wanted the experience to last forever. I know it'll be a place I will want to go every summer with my family. Thank you.
Okay, coming back to our audience. Audience is happy, so they're clapping. Yep. All right. And the cameraman again.